Here are my favorite jump spots and lines of sight on Berlin. You know what to do, so let's hop right in. Starting off on this side of the map, we're gonna hop into P3. You'll see that there's this little slit in the wall over a corner where most people sit when they're holding this hill. And if you're coming from fire, you'll also see it open on this side as well. And you can toss a nade through it, and you'll see that most of the time it lands right in that corner. You can also toss stuns in here as well. Moving on to fire, you likely already know that you can get on this third floor, but if you go all the way to the end and jump on this little ledge, you have a full view of mid and fire. So if your team has P3 control, which is this room of course, this is a great place to cut off enemies who are trying to break the hill from here. After a few attempts, they'll likely start spawning on the platform side, so you can easily transition to this line of sight and overlook the double steps as well as a platform in front of P1. Now there is the famous jump from top fire to the statue, but keep in mind that it takes a lot of practice. I'll slow it down for you, but you're essentially going to line your crosshairs up with the pillar in the back over there. Then sprint at this broken piece of the wall, which should give you some lift, and right at the last moment you're going to strafe to the left, jump, and aim for the reins or the neck of the horse. It's going to take some trial and error and practice, but if you can nail it, it's kind of a fun little spot. Now there is one other jump from top fire that also takes a bit of practice, and this jump allows you to actually get from top third into that office window. I'll slow it down, but you're essentially going to hop onto this chair, which allows you to walk straight onto the windowsill. From your sprint, you're going to turn left, then quickly strafe right while jumping at the very last second, and you should go flying into the window. I couldn't get this jump for the longest time, but after I nailed it, I realized it was actually far easier than the statue jump. That being said, when it comes to these fun jumps, if you want to be able to use them in game or in high stakes situations, make sure that you're practicing to the point where you can at least nail the jump 5 times in a row. If you make it 4 and then miss it, start over. Now there is an easier way to get into this window without having to jump from top third. You likely have already seen people use this or use it yourself, but if not, you can actually jump from this double steps into the building, which is also the location of an objective in most game modes. It's P1 in hardpoint, the A bomb site in search and destroy, and the A point in control. So using this method to get into this building without using the front door is very useful. The way that you do so is that you're going to jump onto this railing on the double steps. And if you walk to the edge where this planter is, you'll find that it gives you a bit of a boost to your elevation. So if you start from back here and sprint toward the window, you can use the planter as a ramp and jump at the last minute right onto the windowsill or at the edge so that you can mantle in. If you find that you're still missing the jump, it's because you aren't jumping late enough. Make sure that you're jumping at the very last second and you'll make the jump. Also, a little known line of sight in this office is above these cabinets. If this wall and these doors are open, you can actually get a clear sight on anyone who's coming up from the glass steps and anyone coming from outer. Now staying in this office, there is an invisible ledge in this corner that is a good way to take opponents by surprise. Also, not a lot of people know this, but you can actually plant the bomb in this office. Just keep in mind that there are limited lines of sight and you might not be able to check on it unless you're actually in the office. If you go to the other side behind this desk, you can also break these planks and be able to watch anyone trying to hit the outer steps. Next, we have these windows down tickets, which you can actually jump through. You likely aren't going to be using this very frequently, but in certain situations it might be helpful in juking an opponent or flanking opponents in tickets. Bottom line, is just good to know that you can actually do this. Moving on to broken, if you didn't know already, you can actually jump onto the middle mound and straight onto top third. You can obviously jump onto the other side, and you can actually jump into this corner as well. Next, we have the tickets building and these doors. You can actually get on top of these doors on both sides of the building, depending on the situation. Again, this is highly situational, but if you're playing control, it may come in handy when you're cutting off opponents trying to hit through tickets. Keep in mind though, you are vulnerable to anyone coming in from broken, so just keep an eye on that area. Now you can jump onto this other door and you actually have a clear line of sight on top P2 doorway and some of top third. It is also helpful on the other side for hardpoint, as this area is P4 and you can pick off anyone coming in from tickets, outer, or trying to cut across from broken, and they're likely not going to look up here for you. Now on this side of the map, if you hop onto the top warehouse, then across to the crane train car, you can drop down the back and use this as a head glitch to look at broken, tickets door, and people approaching from outer. Even better, if you have a sniper, you can actually see into top fire. Moving on to warehouse, you of course know that you can get up here, but there is a way to get onto that other side of the roof from the back rather than going all the way around from the front. This is helpful because most ARs and snipers like to sit back here and guard the bomb in S&D, and they won't expect you to come from this side. Just come right up to the edge and aim for that right corner. You're going to sprint at it, then strafe jump, and you should be able to make the jump. You can actually jump on this side as well, and it's good if you want to cut off people who are trying to get into the mailroom, which is the B site in control and P2 in hardpoint. I don't know if you necessarily want to use this line of sight when you're guarding the bomb in S&D because it's kind of out in the open, and your opponents are likely looking in this direction. But if you back up a little bit more, you can actually use these windows to peek at the bomb. As you can see, I placed an ammo box there and you can see it very clearly with a sniper and still be able to shoot at it with an AR. This might actually be a better spot than the usual back warehouse area because that's where people expect you to be, and you can actually watch for anyone trying to flank around, and they won't expect you to see them come around that corner. Now, if you are the flanker on defense, and you know that there is someone likely watching the bomb from this train car, you can easily pick them off from here as well. Then before we head into the mailroom, there is a spot on docks back here that you might not know of, and it allows you to look into the B bomb site on search and destroy and keeps you relatively hidden. And you can always just pop up, challenge, and keep guarding the bomb. Now, if you come back here to outside mail, you can actually hop onto these sandbags and use them as a heady to look down the street. Keep in mind that you must stay pressed up against this corner because as soon as you strafe to the side, you're gonna fall off. Moving on to the mailroom, we're gonna go back to top third, where you don't always have to make this jump when you're trying to get up to the top. If you look, you can see there are some pieces of some steps jutting out of the left wall that you can actually just use to walk right up. It's just good to know if you don't already know. Also, if you know there's someone up on these steps or those steps over there, you can actually come through broken and slide straight into this hole and challenge anyone over there. Now, here's a spot that I just found, and I'm curious to try in hardpoint or even control. From top third, you're gonna come over to this edge right here and slowly move as if you're trying to get onto this ledge over here, and then you should drop down. From here, you can watch the train side, people coming from tickets, and anyone crossing to fire or past docks. Most times they're looking for you top third and might get thrown off by this off angle. There are obviously limited uses for this, but it's worth knowing that you can do it. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm actually looking forward to trying this out. But that about does it for Berlin. If you have any secret spots you'd like to share, put them in the comments below. Otherwise, check out this video where I go over my favorite jump spots and lines of sight on Desert Siege. I'll see you tomorrow on day 27 of 30 of posting every day. You know what to do. My name is Drew, this was Sablehound. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, I want to be famous.